Hello children, today we are studying a poem On Killing a Tree written by Giv Patel. Giv Patel is a famous Indian poet and playwright. He belongs to a group of writers who have devoted themselves to the green movement, which is an effort to protect the environment. His poems speak of deep concerns for nature and expose man's cruelty to the nature. He currently resides in Mumbai and practices medicine. He is also a painter. As one of the contemporary Indian artists, he has been part of exhibitions around the world. This poem, On Killing a Tree, is a graphic picture of man's cruelty towards the tree, which symbolizes nature. The poet gives us step by step instructions on how to kill a tree and makes us realize that killing a tree is equal to murdering a human being. Let's see the poem in detail and understand what the poet says on killing a tree. Here the poem starts. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of the knife will do it. It has grown slowly, consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crest, absorbing years of sunlight, air, water, and out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. Jab means sudden, rough blow. Leprous hide means discolored bark. So, what does the poet say? We cannot kill a tree, we cannot destroy a tree completely with a simple jab. Jab means sudden rough blow. Okay, so with a simple jab of knife. Okay, then it has grown slowly, consuming the earth, rising out of it. How does the tree grow? The tree has grown by consuming earth itself, consuming the nature itself. What all things are being consumed by the tree from the earth? It is rising out of the earth by absorbing years of sunlight, years of air, years of water. And that's how the tree has grown. So it's not an easy task to destroy or to kill a tree with a simple jab of the knife. Okay, so the lines once again. It takes much time to kill a tree. Not a simple jab of knife will do it. We can't kill a tree with a simple jab of the knife because it has grown slowly, very slowly. That process of growing of the tree was. It has grown slowly, consuming or taking in the earth itself. What all things are being taken or absorbed from the earth? It has risen out of the earth, feeding upon its crest, upper part. Okay, so what all things are being fed by the tree, absorbed by the tree? Years of sunlight, air, water. And out of its leprous hide, sprouting leaves. Okay, out of its leprous hide. What is leprous hide means? Discolored bark. Okay, so what does the tree does? It takes in or it absorbs sunlight, water and air to grow into a strong leprous hide, discolored bark. It means strong trunk. And not only the trunk, have numerous leaves also. The tree has numerous number of leaves also. Okay, so what all things have been said in the first stanza? We said that we cannot kill a tree with a simple jab of the knife because it has grown slowly by consuming the earth, by taking in the earth. It rose out of the earth by absorbing what all things? Years of sunlight, air, water, and it has grown into a strong trunk with number of leaves. Now moving to a second stanza. So, hack and chop, but this alone won't do it. Not so much pain will do it. The bleeding bark will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs, miniature boughs which, if unchecked, will expand again to former size. Hack means cut roughly by striking heavy blows. So what the human beings do? Humans cut and chop the bark of trees into many pieces. But that's not enough. That's not sufficient to destroy the tree. That's not enough to kill the tree. So you can hack and chop. Chop means cut into small pieces. So you can hack the tree, you can cut the tree. But this alone won't kill a tree. This alone won't be enough to destroy a tree completely. It won't cause much pain to the tree. It will just cause some wound above the tree, up on the tree. Okay, it will sometimes be bleeding. That means while we give cut above the tree, it will give out some sap like human beings bleed. So the point says that if we are making hacks and chops above the tree, it will just give out some bleeding bark, and that bleeding will be healed as time passes. The bleeding bark will heal, and from close to the ground will rise curled green twigs. And if we are placing that bleeding barks up above the ground for some days, and if we are not checking that tree for many days, what will happen? It will grow again. Some curled green twigs will start growing up above that tree again. Some miniature boughs will be formed up above that tree again, and it will grow to its former size itself. Okay, so hacking and chopping won't be killing a tree completely, and even if we are placing that, if we are causing bleeding up above the tree, it will heal as time passes. It will be healed, and when we are placing that tree, when we are keeping that tree up above the ground, it will grow again from there, and it will be growing to the former size again. Then moving to the third stanza. No, the root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. It is to be robbed, tied, and pulled out, snapped out, or pulled out entirely out from the earth cave. And the strength of the tree exposed, the source white and wet, the most sensitive hidden for years inside the earth. So, anchoring the earth means the trees are held securely with the help of roots in the earth. Okay, snapped out means chopped out. So, here the point says that in order to kill a tree, it has to be taken out with its roots. That means it has to be uprooted. The roots have to be taken out. So here the point is saying how should we pull out the tree completely from the soil. The root is to be pulled out of the anchoring earth. So really the roots are acting as anchors. And so from there we should pull out the roots from the earth. We should pull out the roots completely. It is to be robbed, tied. By using a rope we should tie it and pull it out completely, and snapped out or pulled out entirely. So these are the things we should do to destroy a tree. Snapped out means chopped out. We should chop out the roots completely, and we should pull out each and every root pieces from the ground. Then out from the earth cave. So from that cave of earth the roots will come out and the strength of the tree exposed. So at that time only we will understand how much strong the tree was, that much strength the tree had. All those will be understood by seeing the strong roots of that tree. Then the source white and wet. So while we are taking out the roots, that soil will be a little wet. How it is happening? The roots are absorbing water, isn't it? So the soil around that root area will be a little wet and in white in color. So that source of complete energy for the tree is being taken out by uprooting the tree. That means while we are taking out the roots from that soil, we are totally destroying the tree. And at that time we'll understand the strength of the tree by seeing that roots which are being kept in that white and wet land, the most sensitive, hidden for years inside the earth. So the most sensitive part of the tree, the poet says that that's the most sensitive part of the tree which is hidden inside the earth. The roots are white in color and wet. Then moving to the next stanza. Then the matter of scorching and chalking in sun and air, browning, hardening, twisting, withering, and then it is done. So The poet is giving out a step-by-step process of destroying a tree. If you need to destroy a tree completely, not a sudden jab will do it. That means if you are just cutting a tree with an axe or a knife, it won't be destroying the tree completely. If we need to kill a tree completely, we should cut it at first, then uproot the tree completely. From the earth caves, we should take out the complete roots. Then what's the next thing we should do? Look at the lines. Then the matter of scorching and chalking. Scorching and chalking means the drying up of the tree after being uprooted. After uprooting the tree, we should dry it well. Otherwise, it will grow again and it will be of the former size itself. Okay. Then of scorching and chalking in the sun and air. Then what will happen to that tree? It will become brown in color. It will be hardening, twisting, withering. Withering means drying. And then only we can say the tree is completely been killed. Okay. So once the tree has been uprooted, then gradually it withers and dries up with the action of heat and wind. The trunk will become brown, twist, and it will become hardened. So then we can say the tree has died completely. Okay. So what all things have been said in the poem? Here the poet was talking about how can we kill a tree. Some may be thinking that it is very easy to kill a tree. With a simple cut, the tree will be killed and it will be enough. But a simple cut will certainly not be enough to destroy a tree. Furthermore, the tree grows gradually and it is rooted in soil. The poet says that the plant takes nutrition from the soil in order to grow, and it grows into a big tree. The tree uses what all things from the nature, use of water, air, sunlight, and all, and it forms of what strong trunk and numerous leaves. Then next stanza we said that it won't be enough to cut and chop the tree only to kill it completely. We can just make it into small pieces. Then it's not sufficient enough to destroy the tree completely. The point of the cut in the tree gives out sap. That means it can only make bleedings above the tree. Sometimes it may be healed again and it will be growing into a former size itself. Then the next stanza, the poet says that in order to kill a tree, if you desire to kill a tree completely without any doubts, what should be done? We should uproot it. One must make sure to separate the tree from the earth, which provides support to it, which is acting as an anchor. What? The root. The roots are to be taken out from the tree, from that earth completely. Only because of this root the tree is connected with the pit of the earth and it is strongly been grown above the earth. The roots are also the most sensitive part of the tree. So in order to destroy a tree, the detachment of the roots must take place, and the roots are a part of the tree that are damp, and also the roots are white in color. Then uprooting a tree is certainly the ultimate step in destroying it. Once the tree is uprooted, then it's only a matter of a time before the tree dies. No tree on earth can survive after uprooting. Gradually, the tree after uprooting will dry, withers. This withering and drying up happens with the action of wind and heat. The trunk will gradually become brown in color. It will gradually twist and will become hardened. Then the tree will finally die. So uprooting the trees turned out to be the most important step in destroying. So in this poem on killing a tree, the poet Giv Patel gives out a sarcastic tone, that means a humorous tone or ironic tone, to make us aware of the vulnerability of human lives and how proper care of environment can keep us safe from any harm. Really, man is presented as a killer who thinks of all possible ways to get rid of the tree which represents nature. The poet ironically suggests how to completely kill a tree. For years, the tree, like a parasite, has consumed the earth's crust and absorbed sunlight, air, and water to grow up like like a giant. So the tree must be killed, but it's not an easy task. A simple jab of the knife will not do it. From close to the ground, it will rise up again and grow to its former size. It will again become a threat to man. So the tree should be tied up with a rope and pulled out entirely. Its white bleeding root should be exposed. Then it should be browned and hardened and twisted and withered, and it's done. What's the message of this poem? Here the poet is giving out a very important message that the trees feel pain, grief, suffering, sorrows, and joys as sensitively as human beings do. So we should never hurt trees. We have not inherited these green trees for our use, and they are held by us in trust for our future generations. So it is therefore our duty, it is therefore our sacred duty to conserve trees as a legacy for future. This poem, from the beginning to the end, describes in detail the process of consequences of killing a tree. In the first two stanzas, the poet talks about nature's resilience. He feels one cannot kill a tree with a jab of knife. The tree has grown slowly, consuming the earth and absorbing the years of sunlight, air, and water. So the tree cannot be killed very easily. Then the bleeding bark will quickly heal, and the tree will produce what all things green twigs, and which will soon expand to their former size. But in the next stanza, in the following two stanzas, he gives a detailed process of killing a tree. The root of the tree must be entirely pulled out of the earth into which it had been anchored, and then left exposed to wither and die. Wither means dry and die. Then only will the killing process be over. This way, the poet highlights man's systematic destruction of environment. So, the title on killing a tree is very appropriate to this poem. And what's the setting of this poem? The setting of the poem is modern world itself. The world is facing rapid deforestation in the name of urbanization and industrialization, isn't it? So, this world where trees are being killed is a setting of the poem. Now we can look at the poetic devices or literary devices used in the poem. Very directly we can say imagery is used, isn't it? Imagery is a poetic device wherein the author uses words or phrases to give out a sense of seeing an image, a mental image in our mind. Okay, really imagery helps the reader to visualize, to make a mental image about the things said by the writer. We can say any of the lines in this poem as an example of imagery, because when the poet is explaining each and every thing as minute details, it is giving out a mental picture. Example: slowly consuming the earth, rising out of it, feeding upon its crest, absorbing years of sunlight, all those. Then we should say the language through the poem is very simple, remarkable, and all. Every word in the poem has a very wonderful suggestion to us, expressing such bleeding barks, leprous hide, anchoring earth. So all those giving us, all those usages are giving out a visual image in the mind of the reader. Okay, so imagery is one of the poetic devices used in this complete poem. Then the next poetic device is irony. The term irony refers to disagreement. That means really while the poet is saying that how to kill a tree, or this is the process of killing a tree, what's the real thing he wants to say? We should not do it, isn't it? So he means the opposite by saying something negative. So really he's trying to say to us that we should not kill the tree by saying that this is the process to kill a tree. Okay. Irony is the next poetic device used here. Then third one is personification. Here, what is personification? It's a figure of speech which uses animals, ideas, or inanimate objects with human abilities or human traits, isn't it? With human beings or with person. So here, an inanimate object like a tree is being used, is being given human qualities. The poem the tree has been personified. The poet speaks of tree as a human being when he says that one cannot kill a tree. Like they would kill any human beings. Then the usage of bleeding bark. This is also an example of personification. Okay, really we can say the tree is portrayed as a human being throughout the poem, and thus the part of the bark where it is wounded is represented as bleeding. Okay, so the poetic devices used in this poem are: first one is imagery, second one is irony, and third one is personification. So that's all about this poem. Children, you should read the poem once again, understand the meaning very well, go through the poem very well. That means you should understand each and every line, the inner meaning of the poem and all. So after reading the complete poem, understanding the complete poem, take down today's notes. Here it is. Thank you.